like that.
Mountain, no one looking head, but you know, I believe that maybe down there, a little bit later, you have to believe that the last 4 years, Clare has won 5 Munster championships and 3 All-Ireland, between intermediate, minor, and under 21. And like, I suppose if you go back 20 years, we won 1 Munster championship, we thought we were great. And now we have won so much in such a
Short time.
We want more.
Exactly. I have to get that lady down there for my speechwriter. But, you know, I suppose we shouldn't forget, we talked about under 21 tonight, we shouldn't forget that 3 years ago, one of the greatest days I've ever had was 3 years ago when we won our first under 21 All-Ireland in Croke Park. Standing on that pitch after winning that game gave me one of the greatest thrills of all time. And terrific credit is due to all the people involved in that team, because it was a victory eked out of pure Clare spirit rather than anything else, you know. And all the people involved with that team, Sean is here tonight, I don't know whether John Nolan, Sarah, and all the players there. That was one of the greatest thrills I ever got in going to Croke Park. And we've been there so many times with Eamon and all the other lads, Eamon was here tonight and all the other lads. But I got such a thrill out of just being a supporter on that night. It was, you know, that day, sorry, it was brilliant. But I suppose the difference this year was that we down, you know, in the final this year, the quality of the hurling was something that I had never even suspected that I would see. Not expected, but even suspected that I would see from a Clare team. It was the closest thing. Anybody, all of you that are here tonight that are as old as me, can remember the great Dutch team of the 70s in the World Cup, who played what was called total football in soccer. And that was the nearest thing I've ever seen to that night. But not alone was it a victory for quality hurling, terrific skill, use of space, ability to find the man, you know, using your head as well as the ball that night. But it also provided with something that has been completely overlooked in my position, in my opinion, the greatest tactical innovation that I have ever seen in any big game in hurling in my time, watching it, being manager, playing it. Now, you look at it like this. After about 20 minutes, Clare were leading by 6 points. I think it was 1-5 to 2 points. Then Kilkenny come back into the game. By half-time, Clare had lost the 6-point lead and are losing by 3 points. So all of us at half-time are speculating, what the hell are they going to do? This is typical Kilkenny. They let you get a start, then they come back, they hit you with 2 sucker punches before half-time, and they come out for the second half and demolish you. So what did Clare do? They come out in the second half and they said, right, we need scores badly, so this is how we're going to do it. Instead of playing with 6 forwards, we play with 4 in forward positions, sometimes 3. And it works to absolute perfection. And they win the second half by 110 to 4 points. I have never, the courage, forget about the plan, the courage it took to make that switch. If it was done in a senior All-Ireland final, it would go down in legend. Now look at Galway this year. Galway were leading by 5 points, we got by 7, and did very much as Clare did. Retreated back the very same way, but we didn't win the game in the end. They drew it. And there is terrific credit, and it should never ever be underestimated. First of all, the planning that went into it. Secondly, the confidence and courage it took to make that decision, and then to have the players to carry out that is something that I have never ever seen before in hurling or in any. I don't watch that many other sports, but I've never seen a tactical move like that that made such a difference in the end. And there is terrific credit due to Jerry and Donald and all of the people involved in that. It was, I was even down in Kilkenny just about 5 weeks ago. We were down in James Stevens, down in Brian Cody was running a function down there. And we spent about 2 hours discussing it afterwards. And even Kilkenny people handed it to Clare that they never expected anything like that in the second half. And you know what that does? It gives us hope for the future. It gives us terrific confidence and hope for the future. But it also brings a bit of a, there's always a downside in under 21, it brings a bit of a danger. That we now might feel that we're entitled to win a senior All-Ireland. And that there'll be a seamless progression, like with great minor, great under 21, and now we're going to win a senior, no problem. Just the same as Limerick 10 or 20 years ago assumed they were going to do the same thing. Just as Galway had assumed for so many times. But even that shouldn't take from what the thrill we got in Thurles that night in September last year. I think that will go down, even if you lads here, if you never do anything again. There was a feeling after that game in Thurles that this was something special. It wasn't just another game, it wasn't just another All-Ireland. Something special happened that night. Something special that we had never suspected we'd see with a Clare team. And I just want to tell all the lads that were involved in that, be their management, be their players, how much that was appreciated by players from the past, by supporters who had supported down through the years, by mentors from the past. You have no idea what you did for Clare people on that night. And to see all of the young people that are there. And I always think it's a great sign of a team when you see very young people. People in their teens coming along supporting the team. It's absolutely brilliant to see all those young people. You saw them in Ennis against Waterford and against Tipperary. And again in the final in Thurles. That's the future. I always say, it's so important. It's so important that we move on, and I was hoping that by now we'd have won another senior, because then we wouldn't be looking back to almost 20 years ago, as Martin said. The longer we keep looking back, the bigger the danger that we won't move forward is. So that is why I would urge all those young lads here tonight, that the next step is to win that senior All-Ireland. And to win that senior All-Ireland, you have moved on, not alone a step, but a giant leap into the future, because you'll be giving all those young people that were supporting you there this year, you'll be giving them a new reference point. And the reference point wouldn't be the past, it would be the present. And when that's the power of Kilkenny and Tipperary and those, that our reference point is never far behind, it's always close at hand. And we need to reach that reference point so urgently before we start living in the past, which is the most dangerous and the worst place of all to live. And I would say this, I'm not going to keep you long. I would say this. I know you have the skill. I know we have the management expertise in this county. We have a terrific man in charge of the senior team next year. We have terrific men at underage levels, all levels. We have fantastic players with brilliant skill. We have the greatest pool of skillful players in this county at the right age that we've ever had in our history. I will say, however, that the one ingredient I don't know yet whether you have or not is the most vital ingredient of all. It's as vital as flour is to the making of a cake. And that is, have you got the character? Character is what makes great teams. Character is what makes Kilkenny Hurls, Manchester United, the All Blacks in rugby. And what is character? It's having men that will stand up when the real crunch comes, and that will stick their chest out and say, everybody else might fall down, but I won't. And the reason Clare won, because I'll tell you this, what does character do? Character makes leaders. And without leaders, you will never win a senior final. Look at the Clare team that won before, what they had above everything else was character. They had men who would go out in the biggest games of all, and they'd play at their very best when the need was greatest. And one of my favourite players at the present time is Brian Hogan of Kilkenny. He's not fast, he's not very skillful, but when Kilkenny needs is at his greatest, Hogan will stand up there as centre back, and he'll defy anybody to beat him. That's character. Character is the players. I hate referring to the past, but that was the thing that made the difference between Clare not winning before and winning when they did. Now everybody tells me, the good news is, everybody knows this group of players. Those who have been in charity, those who know you socially, and I was talking even to a Clare player that was with me. He was in my kitchen there only 4 days ago with a cup of tea, and he knows a lot of you. And he said, he said to me, we've never had a bunch like these. And I said, are they solid? Are they solid? He said, you've never seen as solid fellas as these. Now, if you have that, and if you have the character, we will win. But that test has yet to come. And it's like climbing a mountain. You get to one peak, and you think you're at the top. But then you look up, and there's another peak. And you get to that, and there's another challenge ahead. But finally you get to the top of the mountain. And I'll tell you, when you get to the top of that McCarthy Club, and you take the McCarthy Club, forget the top of that mountain, there is no feeling like it. It would be brilliant if you did it, because I think Clare supporters bring something to the game that very few other counties bring. People I meet in Dublin. Do you know, I just finished with this. I was in Dublin about a week before Christmas, and I was walking along Henry Street, and one of the fellas, the hawkers there, a hawker, fella, he was only in his 35, I say 35, maybe 40. He ran over to me, he said, I'll never forget, he said, the day the Clare supporters came to Dublin in '95. He said, I was here, he said, and they were going down O'Connell Street, he said, and it was the greatest day there was ever in O'Connell Street here. You know. And I was looking at him, I said, you couldn't have been there, 95. Oh, he said, I was only young lad. I was here, he said. And he remembered 95. That's what Clare supporters bring. So between our supporters and our players, lads, wouldn't it be brilliant if once again you crowned this off from minor, under 21 and went to senior and brought that McCarthy Cup home. Make that your ambition. Make that your target. And when you achieve it, you'll have proved that you have the last ingredient, the character that the great men that went before you have. And then we'll have a reference point that will be in the 2000s and not in the 90s. And that's what all of those players that won before, that's what they want. And that's what all of us here as well want. Thank you very much.